You do not need a gym membership to get in great shape. Here are 10 kettlebell exercises that you can do anywhere with just a single kettlebell. This one is called the Kettlebell Sumo Deadlift. And the point of it is to activate the glutes and the entire posterior chain. You want to stand wide with your toes pointed slightly outwards, and you want to keep your knees pointed in the same direction as your toes. Grab the kettlebell with straight arms, and you want to push your hips back. You don't want to push them down. And you want your heels planted on the ground and your chest up. So your knees should track your toes throughout the entire lift. You want to keep your spine neutral and stay looking straight ahead. This really hits your posterior chain pretty hard. So it's great after a full day of sitting, even better if it's between meetings. So this again is called the Kettlebell Sumo Deadlift. I would aim for 10 to 15 reps, and it's really good as a warm-up. This one is called the Kettlebell Halo, and the purpose of it is to loosen up the shoulders while strengthening the upper back and the core. First thing you want to do, hold the kettlebell upside down by the horns, just like this. Then you want to move it slowly around your head in a tight, controlled circle. You want to keep your glutes activated like you're trying to pinch a coin. And you want to keep your ribs down. Try to avoid moving your neck or your torso. And after you've done reps on one side, you want to make sure you also do them on the other side. This one is key for shoulder mobility and core engagement. And you want to aim to try and do 10 to 15 reps per side. And again, really tight, controlled circles. This one's called the Kettlebell Curl and Press. And the purpose of it is to build arm and shoulder strength using a dynamic compound movement. Hold the bell with one hand, and you want to curl and press in one motion. And your wrist should stay stacked. You don't want to let it collapse. You also want to come down in a very controlled motion. You want to curl with control, keeping your elbow tight to your side, so it's one fluid motion. Curl, flip, press, slow and controlled the entire way through. And then when you're switching sides, I like to do just a little rotation like that. So you switch at the bottom, you allow yourself to do a mini swing, and there it is. And for this one, I would aim for 8 to 12 reps per side. This one's probably the most popular, and it's just the classic kettlebell swing. It's great for explosive posterior chain training, strengthening your glutes, your hamstrings, and your core. It's really key with kettlebell swings that you hinge at the hips and you're not doing a squat. And you want to keep a flat back, not upright and not rounded. You snap your hips forward to drive the bell, and you want the bell to reach roughly chest height and then float back downwards. The key is staying in dynamic tension throughout the entire range of motion. Now remember, this is a hinge, not a lift. You want to be using your hips, not your arms for this. And once you get into a groove, I would aim for 15 to 20 reps. This next one is a kettlebell goblet squat. And it's great for getting into a deep squat, working out all of your stabilizer muscles. So you want to start by grabbing the kettlebell by the horns here. You want to keep your arms tucked in, your spine neutral, and your chest up. And when you get down into a squat, you want to keep your knees wide. You want to be able to sit between your hips, and you want to keep your heels down. You don't want to collapse inward. And then you drive through the midfoot to stand tall. I personally like doing slow, controlled squat down and a more explosive movement upwards. And if you want to make it even more challenging, you can add a press to it. And I recommend doing 10 to 12 reps. This next one is a kettlebell rack and carry, or a farmer's carry. And this is great for working your obliques, helping with good posture, and supporting the stabilizer muscles all throughout your core. A farmer's carry is very simple. You're just gonna have the kettlebell in one arm, and you're gonna find a place that you can walk. I recommend finding a place where you can walk for 30 seconds, and you wanna make sure you're staying upright. You're gonna feel it activating in the side that you're carrying it on. With the rack position, the only difference is you're holding the kettlebell up like this. It's important to stay slow and controlled with these movements. Again, that was a super short walk, but you want to aim for at least 20 seconds, ideally 30 seconds, where you're walking one direction, you're walking back in the other direction with the other arm. Whether you do the farmer's carry or the rack position, just depends on what's more comfortable for you. The big thing is it's very helpful for your obliques, your stabilizer muscles throughout your core, and it's very helpful for maintaining good posture. And if you want to add a little bit to it, at the end of each of your 30-second walks, you can just do some side bends. So you might want to add, 10 side bends at the end of each of your walks and do 3 walks. This next one is a kettlebell clean with a squat. And this is a great dynamic movement that trains your arms, your legs, and your back. What you want to do is you want to give the kettlebell a little swing, and then you want to clean it and rack it. Do not let it crash. And then from the rack space, you want to do a slow and controlled squat. And from the top, you return to the swing, you rack it again, and you're down into a squat. If you want to switch arms, I would recommend adding an extra little swing here, like this. You can rack it with the other side and squat. You can even make it more dynamic by swinging, racking, squatting, pressing. This is why I love kettlebells. You can add dynamic changes to the exercises to work out your whole body. For this one, I recommend aiming for 6 to 8 reps per side. This next one is called a kettlebell dead snatch. You're gonna start like you were in the sumo deadlift, just with one arm, and as you come up and you pull through, it's gonna be one fluid motion into a press. Now the key is punching through once the kettlebell flips. So when you're in this motion, it flips and you punch straight through. So as the kettlebell floats, you push through, keep your arm locked and your wrist neutral, and then you lower in a very controlled motion. You just want to be careful you don't launch the kettlebell too high up. You put your wrist and arm at risk of injury. It's very smooth motion. You punch through the kettlebell. Slow motion down, and I would aim for 6 to 8 reps per side. And when you're switching, you can just put it straight on the ground again to switch sides. This one is a half kneeling cross body curl. And this targets your back, your core, your biceps, and it really helps with rotational control. You're gonna get down into a half kneeling position. You're gonna hold the kettlebell like this, and then you're gonna curl the kettlebell across your body, but you're not rotating your torso. You're trying to keep it stabilized, facing forwards. And each rep, you wanna make sure you're really lowering under control. You're not losing control throughout the whole range of motion. Don't rush this one. This one is about keeping tension. I would aim for 6 to 8 reps per side, and you can easily switch when you feel it. This one's really about controlled movements, keeping a stable torso, and really working on your rotational control. This is a great one to make sure you don't get injured when you're taking groceries out of the car. I refer to these ones as kettlebell flutter kicks. And pretty simple. All you want to do is grab the kettlebell by the horns. You want to hold it above your head. And when I say above your head, I mean if you drop it, it's not on your head. And then you want to use it as leverage to activate your core and kick your legs like this. I would aim for 30 to 40 kicks total. You can go higher or you can keep them low. You could even do leg lifts like this if you wanted something different. I find this one to be a great exercise to do between some of the other exercises because it's ultimately a little bit of a break for your upper body and your legs. It's really a core focused exercise, but Great thing to incorporate if you're doing a circuit of these.